Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you're watching this. This is the JCC-Chat, because titles and everything, not really my thing, but we're called JCC-Chat because my YouTube name is too long, and I'm joined here by Adam from Comic Bound and, of course, Marcus from Mad Dog Comics. They're going to get their introductions soon and introduce themselves. But we are, of course, here to discuss the Zack Snyder Justice League cut. And yeah, I've been looking forward for this for 4 years now, I would say.
That's why we only planned this last week. Has it been that long?
Yeah, scheduling and such. But I mean, finally it's here, and now it's of course open for discussion. Was it better than the Joss Whedon cut and everything? But we're gonna try to not to talk too much about comparison about that movie. Myself, I rather put that movie behind me now. But of course, if there's something, we'll bring it up. So, go guys, Adam.
So yeah, I mean, well, I've been looking forward to this for a while. Me and Marcus, since we've been chatting, we've kind of always had this idea that eventually, when this big event film came out, that we'd get together and do this stream. So yeah, just thanks for hosting this, and thanks for having us both on. Really excited to get discussing it. So yeah, I don't know where you guys want to start. I guess Marcus, if you want to say hi.
I don't say hi, do I? It's always woof woof.
Yeah.
Hey guys, yeah, it's me, Marcus, aka the Mad Dog. Big shout out to Joachim for inviting me onto this stream. It's like I said before, it's weird because this is how me and Adam actually became really good friends. Was because I made a video about the Snyder Cut as like my second video and no one watched it. But he commented on it and then we became friends from there. So I'm really glad that since then as well, our friendship circles expanded as well. So that, we've got Joachim and obviously Dano's going to be joining us later on.
Oh, speak of the devil.
Did I just summon him? Like, that's weird.
Yeah, you did.
But yeah, I'm really happy to be here. I'm looking forward to discussing this movie. I don't actually have notes on the movie. I've just got questions that I wanted to ask everybody else. So that should be interesting as well. So yeah, thank you again for having me on. Yeah. That was the end of the intro.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, and
Hello.
here's Daniel.
Fashionably late.
What are we doing?
Oh, you don't know?
There was this movie that kind of came out.
So, have you watched anything special this last week's?
Yeah,
I've
Falcon
watched
and the
it
Winter Soldier.
twice, if that tells you something.
I watched the Snyder Cut twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched it first on the first day by myself, 1 minute after it premiered, and then again on Saturday with my girlfriend, and she loved it also. So that was my big surprise.
Can I just ask, though, when that 1 minute from it being premiered and you watching it, was it already spoiled for you? Because that's what it felt like.
No, nothing. Nothing. Let's see here, guys. Can you help me get a link for this stream chat? And link it to me, because I want to send it to someone.
You should be able to just go to your own channel and copy the link from there.
Let's see
on YouTube.
Here. Let's see.
So how are everyone doing?
Yeah, good. Glad it's Friday, as always, when we seem to meet. So yeah. How you doing?
Always happy to have a Friday.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm trying to find new places to do these streams, so the background always looked different on my end.
I was going to say, I like the change of scene. Like, I like your books and I like your Hellboy statue, but yeah. I like the floral design. Is that the Zack Snyder grey version of your background?
Basically, I'm trying to honor his take on the superhero genre by dulling it out in muted colors, basically black, gray, and white.
That's why I'm so pale.
I'm just taking the piss out of it.
but yeah, I don't know where we were sort of intended to start with this, but I didn't know if we wanted to kind of give our immediate score, like no context,
Ooh,
just a
okay.
score, whether you want it to be a percentage or.
Ooh.
I mean,
Out of
I've got
10.
a score. Yeah.
There you go. Oh, sorry, I just trying to talk with a special surprise. Sorry.
Oh, no worries, no
Surprise.
worries.
Awesome.
So where
I
are
like
we?
surprises.
I
Have
didn't know
everyone?
if you had a plan.
Let me ask one thing. Everyone here, I know that I watched the movie, as I said, right away, 4 hours, done. You guys struggled a bit. Not in the sense of watching it, maybe, but you all took your good time with this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who goes first?
So I can see the chat. Blackpool wants scores already. Hey, Blackpool.
Man.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I watched it in maybe three main chunks. Like I did a good 2 hour, maybe 2 hours in. I did like an hour and a half and then another half hour after a break, and then I had to go to bed. And then I watched the rest of it the next day. I think that's kind of my watch pattern with it. And I did try and watch it again the second time before my Now TV Plus trial ran out. I didn't quite fit it in the weeknights. So that's kind of how I digested it all anyway. So I've seen it one and a half times, maybe, something like that.
Oh, that's better than just one.
Yeah.
Marcus.
What about you guys?
For me, it was only because of Adam saying like, I'm going to watch it today. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to watch it today then. So I watched the first 2 hours. I watched up till part 4, the Friday when it came out, or the Thursday. I can't remember what day it was, but the day it came out, I watched the first 2 hours. And I was like, I need a break. Like, there's only so much slow motion I can take in one sitting. I had a break, and I think I messaged you guys in the middle that I'm like, guys, I'm struggling a bit here. And you were like, you in particular, Joachim, you were just like, it's building up to something. And then I watched the second half, and I think I benefited from watching it in 2 parts. Because since then, I've watched the last hour again. Like before the stream, I watched the last hour.
Damn it, I should have done that.
Yeah, like between me and Adam, we've watched the full film twice because he watched the first part, I watched the second part. So we've watched the full film twice between us. But yeah, I think watching this in 4 hours, I couldn't have done it. So hats off to you for watching it twice in that setting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was me.
And before Daniel gets to talk about his journey on how he had to watch this movie, or had to, I hope he wanted to. I'm going to show here, as you can see, Marcus and Daniel have already made donations here on the Super Chat that now is live on this channel. And for this live stream, all of the donations that will be made on this will go to a suicide prevention organization. We have not chosen the exact organization as of yet, but all of the donations will go to that because of the events that are around this movie, of course. It just felt like the right thing after watching this movie, and I wanted to give something back. And all of us want to give something back in some matter or form. And yeah, and I also stand by matching the total sum that will be donated here, and I'll match that sum and also donate that from my own side. So yeah, I just want to get that out. So any super chat will go to a suicide prevention organization. And yeah, Daniel, how did you get into this movie?
How I got into it? You forced me to watch it, I guess. No,
right,
I'm just kidding.
Right and true.
Well, I was expected to watch it, and I kind of wanted to also. I was, since I have been very vocal, and basically, I haven't looked forward to it until I saw the last or one of those trailers that was on HBO. When I watched that trailer, I kind of got excited about it, but then I know the track record of Zack Snyder. For me, at least, it doesn't really work well. so I wasn't too excited, but still somewhat excited. So I had mixed feelings. But yeah, I watched it the evening of the premiere. So I had work on the day when you watched it twice, I guess.
I
Or
watched it on the first day
once
and then
on the Thursday. Yeah. I could only watch half of it, so the first 3 parts, or the first three title cards.
so basically 2.5 hours right there.
Yeah, I watched it and then I had to go to sleep. I was too tired. I couldn't finish it. I got around to it too late, I guess. But then I watched the other half on the Friday, the day after. So I watched the whole thing in 2 sittings, and that's how I would probably do it again if I ever decided to see it again.
Okay, now I want to speak because I wanted you to actually speak out first on what you thought of the film, because you were the first one that kind of had a problem in like 2 seconds in of the movie.
Yeah, I hated it. Well, I didn't hate the movie. I just hated that they went and used the 4:3 aspect ratio. It's just, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah, you bought this widescreen TV for a reason.
I have my widescreen TV and I want to use the full width of the screen.
Exactly.
I have watched a few animes that are 4:3 aspect ratio, and that's fine. But when it is a newly produced movie for the home theater, why would you do that? Why would you add those 2 black bars on the sides to make the screen smaller? It's just, I don't understand why. And I still have
look
a
great on
problem with
IMAX. It's going to look great on IMAX, though. And
Yeah,
I probably would go see it on IMAX. I mean, I'd want
If
it
it
to have
ever
a break
gets
in the
that.
middle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I guess that he chose to have it in that aspect ratio because he wanted it. If the movie would ever see an IMAX screening, it is ready to go with that ratio. And now when I'm thinking back on it, we saw Civil War, let's see, Captain America Civil War. Was that in that ratio? Because I remember watching that in IMAX.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, IMAX movies here in Sweden don't have that aspect ratio.
Oh, I see. Okay, then leaving that. Now I know that. And yeah.
They usually do the ultra wide, so it doesn't even use the 16:9, so it's even wider.
Oh, I see.
When you go to the theater there.
But what are we gonna start with?
Should do the scores?
We can always grade the movie.
Like shall we give it like a?
You want to score and grade
with no
this
context
before
context.
we even discuss it?
Yeah, because you might be able to change my mind. So
that'd be cool.
Okay,
Like, if
okay,
you
Let's do this the other way around.
Yeah.
How we usually do this.
I'll go last.
Who wants to go first?
Yeah,
Am
let's
I
do the
supposed to
too
go
long
first?
didn't watch.
I'll go first because, I feel like we should end it positively. So I'll go first. But so question though, are we doing like a 10-point scale? And
1 to 10, yes.
1 to 10.
Okay,
And can
so
we
it's
do
a 1 to 10.
0.5 and things like
Yes.
that? Because if it was just round numbers, I'd have to give it probably a 5 for me personally. And if we put 0.5s in there, I'd probably still stick with my 5. Actually,
I thought he was gonna go 4.5.
No, I can't. No, I can't give it any lower than a 5 because there were some things I really did enjoy about it. And I'll leave my score there. We'll discuss it in a bit. So there's me at a 5 for now.
Yeah, Marcus.
Yeah.
It was a 6.5 for me at first. And then it went to a 6 when I watched the second hour again. When I watched it lowered. And I know we said we'd just do percentages, but I came up with a really good metaphor for me personally. So we'll come back to that in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm used to the 5 grade scale. So, well, if I just double it up, then I'm giving it a. I'm feeling generous today, so I'm giving it a 6 out of 10.
Wow.
To be honest, yeah.
I thought you'd be higher from what you said in the before. I thought you would have been higher.
I thought that too. So now I don't know what to do. I'm gonna.
You can still give it an 11. It's fine.
Exactly. But I knew that Oh, here we have it. Here we have it. The comic board. Great cause. Thank you guys for raising funds to help those in need. Thank you so much, Comic Board. And Comic Board is, of course, the channel where you can see Daniel every first Tuesday of the month.
Second Tuesday of the month, yeah.
Second Tuesday of the month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about 2 weeks from now.
I just want to say real quick, like, it is great that you are, doubling the money as well. Like, nobody's told you to do that. It's come off your own back. So, round of applause for me for doing that. Because like I said, you're trying to turn the situation into something positive, which I just really respect. And, I hope everybody does get behind that. And, just massive, like, hats off to you. So, yeah.
Yes. Thank you. And, yeah, I loved this movie. I don't think there's any question about that. And rating score between... I'm still not going to give it an 11, but that was funny. With the 0.5 ratio, I'll put a 9.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to hear the reason for that grade. As I'm interested to hear the reasons for Adam's and Marcus's grade as well.
I know it might be a little bit of a deterrent, but just for my context, like, what are some of your favorite films? Just because, like, a 9.5 to me is like Terminator 2.
Yeah,
do you get what I'm saying?
I would
so,
have
like,
said the exact same.
Yeah. So, for context, like, what films do you guys love, so that I know sort of where you're coming from? If it's too much of a deterrent, just let me know. But it helps.
So now
me
we're gonna
visualize.
pull up some of our favorite movies just to prove
top
why
3.
we like this movie. Okay.
Yeah, just so I sort of know what, like, for a 9.5 for you, I want to kind of know what other things are in that ranking, if that makes sense. Just for my visualization.
Yeah, context. Like, I get it. That's a great question.
As good as this.
Does anyone have any now?
Yeah.
Just now, I feel like I haven't watched another movie in my whole life, just like that.
For me, so
it's this in the 2017 Justice League, and that's the comparison.
Adam, go first.
I'll give a completely non-nerdy, non-comic book example of what I consider an amazing film that I watched quite recently for maybe like the 3rd or 4th time, and it still holds up, is Whiplash. And yeah, I don't know if many people have even seen that film. It's incredible. It's literally like almost a perfect film. And it's got J.K. Simmons in it, being an absolute legend. So anyone who loves him and, appreciated him in this film as Commissioner Gordon, go watch Whiplash. It's amazing. It's about jazz drumming, and I have no interest in jazz drumming at all. But it's an incredible film. And by the end of it, I was sweating. It was like that intense how it ends. It's, it's almost perfect. So, yeah, that's my kind of absolute upper tier of like movies.
I'm going to have to check that out. It's been on my watch list for about a year now, and I keep intending to, so I'll give it a watch for you.
Cool. Let me know what you think. 5 out of 10.
Next week's stream!
Okay, so I'm trying to think of movies, but of course, I like many like Oscar-nominated things, and not just comic book stuff, but of course, some part of me is putting this next to side with Endgame and Infinity War on some aspects, because they are competing in a way, but they are making it in their own way also. I mean, I'm very glad that we get a different sort of take on it, on how to build a universe of superheroes. But of course, I like many of the Nolan movies. I'm a big fan of just lately Tenet. I think that was amazing because it's basically its own sequel the second time around you watch it. And Inception, Interstellar, and so forth. Seven is a classic that I love Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt. And yeah, I mean, when it comes to comic book movies, I like his Watchmen, but I think the only problem with this Watchmen movie is the absolute ending on how they wrap up everything. That is basically the only thing that deteriorates from the graphic novel itself. Otherwise, it could have stand as a prequel for that fabulous and fantastic HBO series of Watchmen. So, and I think I like 300 also, but it's not like my top rated movies out there. But I guess those are movies that I look to. I very much like Hacksaw Ridge with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, that's a great film. That is.
Yeah, that's the only one that I think he's a better actor in than Spider-Man. That and Social Network.
I was going to say Social Network. He was pretty peaking.
He was very good in Social Network as well. So that, Hacksaw Ridge, and Amazing Spider-Man, best top 3 of Andrew Garfield. Now let's leave that. Daniel, what movies are you putting next to this because of your ranking and everything that it did really caught up to?
I'm not putting any movie next to this one, but
not next to, but
some of the better movies that I enjoy watching and I've rewatched over and over so many times is Shawshank Redemption is one of them. Terminator 2, of course. Aliens is one of those.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones. And Jurassic Park. I can't remember how many times I've watched that one.
Yeah.
It's just one of my favorite movies. And Heat has been one of my go-to movies for the action scenes alone, and the sound quality, how they portray the action in bank robbing, and with the the acting from both Pacino and De Niro in that movie. It's just it's one of my favorite movies, just because how they act in it. So there's too many movies to count that I hold at like the 10-star or full grade, whatever grade you want, give it full. There's too many of those.
I want to add Joker to my list because
that's a good one.
Yeah, and that's another good example of DC doing its own thing also with the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Not much world building, but at least let each character tell their own story.
Yeah.
Okay, so the beginning of this movie is very different from the Joss Whedon one, I would say, because I can't have any imagery here show you with the free StreamYard, but we'll fix that someday. But okay, so we see, of course, the climax from the Batman vs Superman movie. That is a whole nother discussion on that movie, and but we see Superman getting stabbed by Doomsday, of course, and this scream echo out all across the globe, and basically waking up these mother boxes that has been dormant for hundreds and hundreds of years. I think it's closer to 5,000 years, if I'm correctly within this one.
Yeah, because Wonder Woman was 5,000 years old, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was before her time. So I think you're right there.
She's just 5,000 years, as they mentioned later on in the movie. And what did you think about that? Did you need that? Because we don't get that sort of build up in the Joss Whedon one. There we get this funeral of Superman, and it's kind of James Bond music in the beginning. Here it felt much more like, okay, so this affected a much wider range of happenings to come.
I really liked how they started it with the end of the last film. It was the beginning of this one, because they did the same thing for Batman and Superman, Batman v Superman, sorry, because then
That's right.
they all kind of flow together in kind of like a trilogy almost. I know there's meant to be more than one Justice League, but yeah, I like that, how they bridge the gaps between the films. I thought that was good, and it was definitely a lot better than the dodgy-lipped Henry Cavill talking to a kid with an iPhone or whatever they did with the Justice League, because that set that movie off on a really bad start straight away. I remember that. I don't remember that film very well, but that definitely stuck with me. So yeah, I won't go on about the Whedon one much, but that I think needs to be mentioned, that just starts off on a bad note straight away. So it's already did something better out of the gate, this one. So
well, to start off, yeah, Zack Snyder's Justice League is way better than the Justice League that we got. Yeah, it's way better than what we got from Joss Whedon and WB. That's my opinion. It's way better. It's actually a watchable movie, to be honest.
There seems to be the same. I don't think I've heard anybody say that the Joss Whedon version. Like, to be fair, I keep calling it the hodgepodge version, but I don't think anybody said that the 2017 version. Like, everybody, that seems to be the one takeaway from it. Like, whether you like this or not, it's good that it seems like it served at least the bare minimum purpose that it had to do, which is, you know, forget the 2017 version. This is at least an improvement on it. So, but weirdly, with the opening, everybody only mentions the mustache, whereas it was nice to see Superman be kind of nice to anyone for the first time in these three films. But it's like, oh, his mustache was shit. Well, close your eyes then. Like, but it's still Superman for me. And I don't know, because I didn't watch the Whedon version before watching this version. I wanted to treat this as its own film. Like, if this would have come out in 2017, what would I have thought? Fuck the hodgepodge off. So, am I allowed to swear on your channel? Like, I know I swear all the time on mine. Am I allowed to swear on your? I feel like I have to check.
I think we're all adults here.
Yeah, good. So. But yeah, I thought it was a stronger opening. So yeah, I think it was a smart move, and I really like what Adam said about it feeling like one continuous 8-hour film now instead of just a 4-hour film.
Yeah, and I never thought of that, actually, that they picked us up like that, because there are 3 to 4 years in between all of these movies, with Man of Steel going out in 2013, right? And 2016, Batman v Superman came out. So it's a good move, basically. And for fans that has followed it closely, of course, notice it right away. But let's see here. What... we are gonna try to help each other to what actually happens, because not even me that saw it twice can remember everything chronologically. But I do remember seeing Bruce Wayne, of course, on this fantastic landscape that is
the glaciers,
Iceland.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's, of course, beautiful, and he is now on this journey. I think this takes place like 6 or 8 months after his death, because he has clearly gone on a journey to try to find these metahumans on the planet.
For me personally, though, how come in a 4-hour movie didn't just tell us how long it had been? Like, that would have solved that problem. Just, it's 6 months later, guys. Superman's still dead.
Yeah, we only needed that one. I'm gonna, as I said before, and Daniel, if you didn't hear, I have a special surprise for you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we can fit in one more person here for this live discussion. Yeah.
Please.
Yo!
Don't make me the special surprise. Don't make me the special surprise. I hope you have another surprise, because I can't be it.
Hello.
Hey, am I in the right place? Is this it? Is this what happens overseas? Right?
No, I think you're lost. I don't know how you ended up here.
I don't know. Sometimes I just wandered through the internet. I end up coming to the weirdest, strangest places.
Well, welcome to first JCC-Chat about the Zack Snyder Justice League movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm in the right place then. How are you guys doing?
Doing fine, thank you.
Really good, thank you, man. How about
Yeah,
you?
good.
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. All these names sound familiar. So this is the stream that happens overseas. What time is it overseas right now? Is it late at night?
It's
Half
about
7 for me.
it's
Oh.
8:30 here in Sweden.
That's not late at all. Never mind. I
No,
thought you
no,
guys
no.
were like 12 hours away. I don't know my countries. I don't know what time zone I'm in. It's always changing.
I should tell everyone that I gave Omar like 3 different starting times because I didn't know what time. So I had to sync watches like 2 or 3 times before we actually did this.
Yes. I was really confused, but I'm glad I made it. So
Oh, you weren't the only one.
here we are.
Okay, so of course I invited Omar not only because he is a veteran within these chats. I think he's done 1 or 2 before, and I also needed someone in my corner.
Wait, these guys don't like Justice League? None of them? None of
Quickly,
them.
I gave it a
yes,
5. I gave it a
Adam.
Yeah.
A six is a high score.
6
like-
is not a high score. 6 is a high score for something like, I don't know, Strawberry Shortcake versus
A girl-
Godzilla. This
A
is
girl once
Justice League.
rated my Luke's a 6 out of 10, and that was the best compliment I've ever received, so I'm taking it.
Daniel's score.
Yeah,
What was that? Yeah.
it's a 6 out of 10. Yeah.
6 out of 10. So 6 out of 10. And what did Comic Bound give it?
5.
5.
Yeah.
Well, that's not that bad.
Mine
Honestly.
is
9.5.
9.5.
Yeah. 9. I really liked it. I
Yeah.
really liked the
Mhm.
movie. I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was bad. There were some things I would have changed about it, but I thought it was a pretty fun movie.
I had a lot of fun watching it, and I will kind of prefix my 5 with saying that there was a lot about it I did still really enjoy. But as a film, like if I'm going to watch a film, I think the connectivity between a lot of the cool moments in there was where it fell down, and I can't give it a decent score because of that. Even though I had a lot of fun, and I really loved watching it with the whole background of how it came about and how it even became a thing that exists. I thought that was almost more fascinating to me than some of the film. So
Yeah, of course.
yeah, that's kind of like my movie critic score, but that doesn't take away from the good time I still kind of have had watching it all. So it's not all bad.
Yeah, to me, the action scenes are quite pleasing to see, but it just doesn't really connect between them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of
tissue.
The problem is that they didn't have a lot of time. They only had 4 hours to work with. That doesn't give you a lot of time. That was sarcasm. By the way.
I think somebody counted out that 10% of a movie is in slow motion.
Yeah.
I
thought it was
I
more.
saw a rumor
I believe
about
that.
I haven't really counted it, but yeah, I saw a rumor on Instagram about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds
I
weird.
guess. Yeah, but it's still good because, of course, he works with the framing and the shot. That's what he wants. But then, like you say, Daniel, sometimes the directing kind of slacks a bit just because he wants to get a certain shot.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we're not going to go through the whole movie. I think it's very good if we bring out some parts, some weird parts that we didn't like, some good parts that we did like, and maybe we'll hit all the good points of the movie as well as the weird ones, right?
Can I just ask a real quick question? Because there was a scene that really confused me in this film. And as we all know, I can't grow a beard. So because I'm finally surrounded by people who can grow facial hair, it's the time to ask this. Do any of you shave whilst in a full suit like Bruce Wayne did? Because that really wound me up.
Every day.
Well, I do every
day.
morning.
I've got a shaving suit. Have you not?
Who doesn't?
I mean,
how poor are you that you can't afford a shaving suit, dude?
No, it's lack of facial hair, man. I've been trying for 6 years.
It's like, oh my
Well,
god,
if you get
enjoy
that shaving suit, then the facial hair comes with it.
Ah,
That's
Kind
it.
of does.
it's
That's
a
the
10 out
thinking.
of 10 film now that that's answered.
Okay, but one scene that I think we were talking about the Icelandic landscape and everything, and Bruce Wayne going on his journey. And but as I said, no intention, but I believe this takes place 6 or 8 months after Superman's death. There is no real clue to that, really. But it just feels that a lot longer time has passed in this movie, more so than this Whedon one. And you of course get to this village in the middle of Iceland, and we meet up Aquaman. And the part with "Don't count it on Bruce Wayne," of course, is hence to the line from Aquaman. And the weird part about this scene is, of course, maybe when they are parting, and Aquaman goes into the sea, and the villagers starting to sing. I must say to you, because I can truly believe that you did not like that, but I loved that thing. And that is because I think that grounded Aquaman, just like many other figures that shows up in this, to mythology. Because that is something that the DC characters are very rich in, and that is legacy and mythology, just like Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and all the people that came before them. And I think it's just a sign of them like worshiping him in a way, thanking him now when he goes on to the next job, because he came there when they were in need and everything. Of course, then there's the smelling his shirt and everything, but
I mean, that's what took it past the kind of we're worshipping him, and now I'm just being a creepy fan stalker.
Exactly.
You know,
But
I
I
think
like
there's
that.
a line there.
I've actually listened to that song now after watching the movie twice. It's a beautiful song, actually.
For me, this is kind of my main problem with Zack Snyder films as a whole. It's a difference between concept and execution. The concept of that, I love what you said about the mythology. It makes sense. The execution is a bit hokey, a bit, silly. And that's kind of been my problem with a lot of Scott Snyder's films. That I think he's a great idea man, and I'd love for him to be just a visual director. Like, I'd love to see him take on something like, give Zack Snyder a remake of Wizard of the Oz and just let him go as completely batshit crazy as he fucking wants to be. And it could be amazing, but the execution, like, oh, I want to do Doomsday. Great concept. You've shoved it into a film that's the second time we've seen Superman, and literally everyone else in the film has pretty much tried to kill him. So for me, it's I love that idea of what you said about everybody worshipping him, but I was laughing whilst they were singing.
Yeah.
I mean, did anyone else wonder just how many shirts he loses over like the span of like a few weeks? Because he takes a new shirt off every 10 minutes. Yeah. Like, there must be just a trail of fangirls around just picking up shirts and singing their little songs.
I think that was written into his contract.
Probably because when they work out like that, they want to show that.
Oh yeah, he's in good shape. And Henry Cavill was an amazing. I forgot how in shape Henry Cavill got, but that dude's jacked. Like,
oh yeah, he's huge. Like,
I know.
That's an understatement.
I have to play it cool. I'm playing hard to get with him. Like, one day.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see what you're doing.
But there's one scene with Aquaman that looks totally badass. In contrast to that we felt was a little weird with the singing and everything. But then there's him rescuing this man on the boat that's challenging the sea and everything. And I thought that looked really good introduction for him. So basically, every character gets 2 scenes that introduces them in this movie, and those are the ones that did not have their own movies later on or before this. I mean, because obviously, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman does not get as much explanation as the later 3, and yeah, him just grabbing onto that salesman, and yeah, that scene when he walks out into the sea again, that shirt taken off and everything, that looks like a Jack Daniels commercial.
Okay, so I don't know what you guys have talked about. You all have talked about. Have you talked about the music and the score or
Oh,
just
no, we haven't. We have just talked about the very first scenes. So
just the
far,
first scene? Are we just rating the first scene? Okay.
No,
I didn't-
No, we haven't rated. We have rated the whole movie.
The whole movie,
before
okay.
we went into talking about certain scenes or certain aspects of it. So
Got you.
Yeah.
Are all
See-
you guys drinking tea? Are you guys drinking tea?
No, there's
No, I'm drinking
rum-
whiskey.
Whiskey,
rum
good.
in here.
Vodka. Okay.
I just
Wine.
got this new mug. Shout out to Comic Airwaves, by the way. They've got their show coming out tomorrow, so that's
Cool.
why I'm drinking
You're
out the mug.
That's good, man. That's good. I was just curious. Aquaman sponsored by H&M.
But let's see here. So we've gone chronologically, as I said, and every character gets 2 introductions. Let's see, where do we head after this? After this, we pretty much head over to Themyscira. And I love that plane.
Oh man, that scene was awesome.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a problem with it in the Justice League, the Joss Whedon cut, but this was so expanded. I really liked this one. Like
The
I thought
chase scene was wonderful.
it was better.
Yeah,
And I thought,
Yeah.
I thought it was cool enough in the original one, and this one was so much better. And the special effects were better. Even though, like, if you compare, I assume somebody on YouTube has already compared them shot by shot,
Of course.
where Steppenwolf is whacking away at the Amazons. It's the same
butchering them.
motion, except they have a new CG stand-in. You know, it's the new Steppenwolf, and then the different color palettes that they use for that scene. Looks beautiful. I loved it.
Did they still have the lightning effect every time he struck with his axe in the Whedon cut?
I don't know. I
can't
just saw it.
remember.
I can't remember either.
like-
I don't
Yeah.
think they did. They added little things too
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
one. I thought that
Yeah.
were pretty cool.
So, what did
He
you
made
think
the
about?
boom boob. He
Yeah,
boomed
exactly.
for once.
And what did you think when you first saw him in his new armor and everything? What was your first impression of that?
Like in the trailer.
Oh, but in the movie when we get to
In the-
see it in full
in the
resolution and everything.
In the trailer, I thought, "Ugh, it's a little too it's a little too 90s. It's a little too edgy for me. I don't need my bad guys to look really shiny with a bunch of spikes coming out of them. That reminds me of too much 90s comics. But it moved so well when I saw it in the movie. I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome. I don't know. It just worked for me.
Yeah, because when I saw it first, I was a little afraid that it was gonna be like the Bay former kind of situation
Oh,
with the parts moving and everything, but it felt really natural in some way.
I was a bit put off by just the overall look when he did the opening line that he did, where I can't remember what he said, like prepare for the great darkness or something like that. I was like, oh, here we go. But I must admit, he did really grow on me by the end of it, and I thought they did a lot better with him. And it kind of started for me during the chase sequence, and that was when I kind of felt like, okay, they have started to really improve him there. And that one shot where they fire all the arrows at him and he just goes like, "Ugh," and they all just kind of shatter. That was cool. So no, I think they did a really good job kind of improving him from the last one. From what I can remember, I don't remember the last film very well at all.
Was that sequence in any of the trailers?
I saw a little clip of it on Twitter, like just a bit where he's slashing through somebody because they were like, look, there's blood this time. So I saw that bit. So I was ready for how sort of brutal he was going to be. But I really like that bit where he was asking after Aquaman and he just kicked someone into that rock. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I'm glad they didn't show me that bit because I was like, I feel like I've seen everything from all the trailers with all the different character trailers as well. And I'm still hyped for it. But when I saw that, I was like, yeah, that was pretty cool. And he had that weird little spider thing that could just look into people's brains. And I was just like, I want one of them.
Starro, wasn't it? Meant to be Starro, I think. That's what people were saying. But is it not? Because
I don't think so. I mean, the Starro has a completely another effect on people, I think. And he's organic.
But like, everyone's been saying that was Starro. So.
And he's in the trailer of Suicide Squad 2.
Yeah, but he looks like Starro in that trailer. He's like purple or whatever, and then this is obviously different.
I did, man. I'm so exciting. It was cool to see Starro, and it's all about King Shark, baby.
Yeah,
it's all about King Shark, man.
But One thing I was thinking about, just because now after this, of course, we have seen Aquaman in the continuity and everything, and there are some things that goes against that movie, but this wanted to do its own thing, so it did. But one thing I thought, when he dragged up those King's Guards, they were breathing the air, and in the Aquaman movie, King's Guards could not, unless they were of royal blood. They could not breathe air. So I guess there's some kind of spread blood there in the King's Guard that has royal blood within them, if that rule should still apply.
And in the Aquaman movie, Amber Heard also did not have a British accent.
Yeah.
So
That
I
kinda threw
don't
me.
know. How good was her accent, guys? Was it solid? No.
I didn't
I'm a Swedish guy,
mind
so
it,
I wouldn't,
but-
couldn't say, but I didn't like it.
Yeah, it was all right, but you could tell it was fake. But I've heard a lot worse.
Like
yeah,
Like
a lot
Dick
I
worse.
guess-
Van Dyke?
Yeah.
But the
No.
reason why he chose to have a British accent is that, I guess, because they wanted her to sound more royally.
Yeah. I
It's
think
just
that's
really
the
weird
first.
to see that. And then Aquaman,
Yeah.
she doesn't have an accent. But I tell you what, though, that scene where she's sucking the liquid out of Steppenwolf was
Yeah, that was fucking
awesome.
cool.
Oh, that was so awesome. I
Yeah,
love that
because
scene.
a whole room of Amazons, but they did also have to fight off parademons, of course. But
Yeah.
she pretty much held her own for a while
Yeah.
until
was
just
a good
Momoa
scene.
showed up.
Didn't Amber Heard lose the accent in a few sequences throughout the
think
I
so.
movie?
don't know.
Yeah,
but
I
I
think
I
noticed
he
felt
kept
like
it
she did. She kind of dropped it and then picked it up again and dropped it a few times. So I kind of
So
fell
there
out
was
of
a
it.
there was a definite sequence with Wonder Woman's mum
Mhm.
where they're firing the arrow of Artemis or whatever. That scene, she loses her accent completely, and she speaks with an American accent. So that kind of was a bit jarring, and I've not heard anyone kind of talk about that. I don't know if many people noticed, but like I was like, that took me out of it a little bit.
I guess I was just too immersed to even think about it, because I just 30 minutes into this movie, I had already cried once.
Oh, man, you really liked it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I really, really did. And Misty Eyes and all of that, of course.
Oh, that's cool, man.
But by the end, I completely lost it. But that's way too early. And but let's see here.
Yeah, we're only on scene 2 at the minute.
Yeah, and wow, you were already crying. That's awesome.
I mean, I think it was when she was about to contact Diana and everything, and I felt that I really get immersed into this because she misses her daughter and everything. She's been away from her for 100 years, almost. And I mean, of course, who wouldn't miss their child that long? Even though they are beings that are over 5,000 years old, I think they still interpret time the same as we are. And that's another aspect. If we were going to talk time, I really liked how they played the Flash Speed Force within this one and how they interpreted time.
Yeah, for me though, I think that would have had a much bigger effect if slow motion hadn't been used for every single other thing. Like, can you imagine if the first time you saw slow motion was when Iris is in the car accident and you see Flash just slow down time rather than, like, legit, there was a scene in this where a car drives down the street in slow motion. So the effect had been lost on me, but if it would have just been this is what I'm saying. I feel like it was so close to some things that I'm like, can you imagine if that scene where the Flash is rewinding time, spoilers, that scene where the Flash is rewinding time was one of the only times where slow motion is used. It would have had, it had a great impact, but it would have had so much more of it. I don't know if that's just me, actually.
No, I agree.
No, I understand you. I understand the argument, yes.
That is like one of my biggest gripes with the film as a whole, is it kind of feels a bit self-indulgent to its own detriment. Like, it just can't help itself, and it's better off if it could in a lot of different ways. Like, that's one of them. I think it, like you say, if it was just a bit more restrained with the slow motion where it did use it, it would be a lot more impactful.
Well, they use the slow motion as an effect to show how fast the characters really are. They use high speed scenes as well, so that the characters move very fast in contrast to real time, or if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I understand. So it kind of contrasts even more with the use of much more slow motion than I would like to see, and high or regular velocity scenes, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. I think they try to use it in that way, but it kind of, as you say, it's a little bit too much. But it's his style. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I didn't mind, but I can completely see where you guys are coming from about every scene having a slow motion scene, and then throw the Flash in there. It kind of loses that little special thing about it. But he does run really funny, so you can tell when he's.
And he trips up a lot. Like, for a guy whose one talent is running, I can't believe how often he kept falling over. Like,
my wife pointed out how funny he runs, and I was like, "Well, thank you. Now I can never see this again the same way."
Yeah, Shadowcat did the same. He looks like an ice skater, doesn't he? Like,
well, he does
forward.
competing ice skating in the movie.
Yeah, that's what I thought was cool. Like, I didn't know if maybe they knew that was what it looked like. So, because obviously, do you know, like in Superman Returns, how the flying scenes were done with him swimming?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I didn't know if they did the same. Like, to simulate him running really fast, they just made an ice skater run really fast. So I didn't know if that was what they did, and that was a nod to it. I haven't seen any behind the scenes because sometimes it ruins it if I see it before the film.
But that is a really, really good analogy of it, actually. An interesting one, I would say.
I got one.
Yeah, but I like that one because he kind of moves like that. And when they use because they overuse slow motion, but when they actually use it in the right scenes, the Flash is obviously one of them, I think. And I really like that when he turns around to go out and save Iris, his shoes shatters.
Yeah.
Not all the clothes, of course. It is R-rated, but we don't want it bad R-rated. And when
there were a lot of wieners flying around at that point, though. So.
Exactly. There were enough wieners in that scene already. And I liked how he kind of prepared her for. I don't know. It felt like he kind of prepared her for the sudden shock of just being on the ground, because it goes in the half of a second almost. And he still had that humor, of course, that Joss Whedon also adapted into the character. But I could still take that because, for me, he ended up being the most important character next to Cyborg within this one. I mean, those two saved the universe.
Oh, yeah. I liked them a lot more than I did in the Whedon cut. Like, Cyborg wasn't even a character in the Whedon cut.
Yeah.
In this, he was so fleshed out. And both him and Flash were so much better in this.
Yeah, and what I just want to add was, I mean, slow motion, that's the way Barry Allen must see the world at all times, depending on where he is in his thought pattern. I mean, if he's there in the now, then everything speeds up again. But otherwise, he must, a day must feel like a year if he just wanted to.
I mean, for me, it kind of felt like they were definitely trying to imply that it was more like, you know, it was like its own separate realm almost, you know, like in the Lord of the Rings where he puts on the ring and he goes invisible and everything. It's like you're in a different kind of plane of existence. That's, to me, what they felt like they were doing with the Speed Force, where it was kind of like, so I guess the bit that made me really kind of go along that route of thinking was the bit where he's running past Superman and Superman clocks him, which I thought that was pretty cool. And then they have their own little like super speed fight or whatever. But yeah, for me, like I don't think he kind of perceives everything in slow motion.
No, of course not.
Yeah,
depending on his depiction of the moment itself.
Yeah. But
what do I think about his personality though? Because I was surprised how much of that was still included in the original. Like I thought a lot of the Flash must have been the hodgepodge edition that, you know, make the Flash funny, but we still had that, you're in my second favorite chair. Oh, I eat so much food. Oh, hi, Diane. Hi, Barry, I'm Diana. And I'm like, none of these were funny in the original. Like, they are bits I would have left out gladly.
What's
Which,
your superpower?
which-
I'm rich. I thought that was a Whedon line.
Yeah, I thought
Like,
that
I was
was
shocked that
what
was
we
a-
did.
I did too. I did too.
Yeah.
I
My
thought that was
man.
Whedon. Now, the one I'm glad they took out that I could tell was a Whedon line was the brunch. Because I hated that whole thing. That whole spiel about brunch. Ah!
Yeah.
So I'm
I
glad
don't
that
even
got
remember
taken
it.
out. It was
I
that
can't
bad.
remember it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
bad.
And then the second introduction scene, because pretty much everyone got two, and with Barry, it was, of course, his father. And I think a lot of people actually preferred that scene for his introduction, but we kind of needed the two because he wanted to build up Iris as well for his sequel, if there would ever be one. We don't know. But the second one is, of course, with his father, and that's the same actor that played Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen, right?
Yeah.
Billy Crudup. I like that actor a lot.
I like him too. And of course, the lines that he says in that scene is very important for later on in the climax of the movie. And I only noticed that the second time.
Oh, I only watched the last hour the second time.
Yeah, but it is the words of be the best of the best and make your own future.
Oh,
Yeah.
because he says that later on.
Yeah. This is for you, Dad. You should know that I was one of them. And
I
Like,
kind
I
of
thought
wish
that
they
was a cool
didn't
moment.
have that line. I really didn't like it. I thought that was a really good example of kind of like, stop telling me and show me that this is the moment that calls back to that scene, rather than just, it felt like really awkwardly, I've got this little line as I'm running towards saving the future.
Well, there
don't
was
know.
like 2.5 hours in between the line being said and then that
True.
moment. So
But if
I
it
guess
was
also
really
a
going to
2-day
be that
break
powerful,
between that scene.
Yeah,
Exactly.
true. I had a day break as well. Yeah.
yeah,
But I feel
so,
like if it really had a natural impact there, you wouldn't need to say anything. And that's kind of one of my big criticisms, I think. So there's a lot of show. They break the rule of like show don't tell. Or whatever, quite a lot.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see not wanting to say it, but I think sometimes the audience needs a reminder, right? Like if you're looking at it from that perspective, like, oh, they want to feel smart too. The regular audience that doesn't break down the movie like a regular movie critic does, but the people that are like watching a movie because it's fun and they're like, oh, I made that connection. I'm so smart. And then you tell your wife, and she's like, I know, you idiot. I made the same connection too because he just said the line. That's probably why they added it.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
probably. And if we're still on the Flash, we'll might as well finish off talking about it on that last scene then. I mean, that they tweeted that we're going to see the Speed Force in a way that we've never seen it before, and I think, god damn, they stuck by that word.
Oh yeah, hats off.
Yeah.
But for me,
the slow motion or the visual?
The slow motion, when the music started of the Force of Speed with the soundtrack and everything, beautiful. I felt asleep to that soundtrack the last 3 days because I think it's just beautiful. And it's so epic. And when he starts running, everything is atoms and molecules, basically, not even that. We can just see a light that is depicted from the unity itself. And of course, he now has to break his one rule, which is running faster than the speed of light, and therefore change time and travel back. So we don't really know how his time travel works, but we know that he rewinds the moment. And he rewinds the moment so fast that the molecules barely catches up to him as he steps forward. That was so awesome for me.
Yeah.
I said this before we even had the chat. When this movie comes out, I don't care if everybody else hates it. This movie, I've always felt, is going to be for me. I'm going to be so egotistic about this. But as long as I like it. And that moment sold it completely for me.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you think about that?
About the Speed Force.
Of course,
How
about
they
Speed Force.
depicted the Speed Force. Okay. Well, it kind of looked cool.
Oh yeah.
I'm so overhyping this.
I thought it was very similar to what Bryan Singer did with Quicksilver in the X-Men movies. The whole bit of like slow motion to represent Speed Force, like how fast somebody's going, and then it kind of catches up. Visually, I thought it was pretty cool. Like, and I think it would be very difficult to show on film what the Speed Force is, especially when you have a bunch of artists that have drawn it over the years, and some of them kind of suck, and then some of them are like, oh, this is kind of cool and stylistic. I like that. But I think my moments in this movie are a little bit different than yours. You really like the Speed Force and the use of Flash, which is great. I really like what they did with Superman. That was my favorite thing.
Give your example then. I mean, everyone has to have some scene they like it, right?
I think my favorite scene is when he's on the ship, and I think somebody have already made memes about it, where like he's walking around the different costumes, and he's got the narrative of both Russell Crowe and Kevin Costner, both of his fathers, talking about who he is and what he represents to humanity. And I love the meme that somebody did, like to unlock these costumes, you got to pay a certain amount of money. You guys are quick with your memes. I was like, I just saw the movie. But then he comes out in the all black costume, which is chef's kiss, and he hears the voice of both his Jor-El and his dad, Jonathan Kent. It's time to fly. Oh, that got me. I thought that was
in the background there as well.
The Lexus suit, the purple and green.
Yeah, I think it was one of the first one in the background he passed.
I noticed his suit. I noticed his dad's suit. I didn't notice that one.
I noticed a kind of space suit that I know is from Krypton as well.
Okay,
big,
so I might be
one.
confusing the two then.
Yeah, it was a big, white, bulky one. But then again, maybe Lexus could have taken that and made a prototype of it.
Yeah, that's why I was just thinking, like, maybe that is where they would have gone with something like that. That could have been cool.
Because he did have access to it, so could have done that.
And I was okay with that too, with like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex in this. Like I wanted to strangle the life out of him in Batman vs Superman. I couldn't stand that character or the actor. But in this, I don't know.
He was only in it for like 10 seconds. Though,
maybe that's why. That's why it was okay.
For me, I know exactly how that happened, because like there were a lot of fan rumors before Batman v Superman about like who's going to be Lex Luthor. Oh, is it going to be Bryan Cranston?
Yeah, that was
from Breaking Bad, and I can just imagine some suit at Warner Brothers going, "Yeah, get me the guy from Breaking Bad," and then some producer turns up, "Here, we got you Eisenberg," and they're like, "No, I said Heisenberg, not Eisenberg. Here's Jesse Eisenberg."
I never made that connection.
Right. Okay. Well, he signed the contract now. Too late. Like, that's exactly what happened in my head, anyway. So.
But Adam, did you have a favorite moment then?
I think, like you guys, like I've got a lot of favorite moments from this. Like, my score is quite low based on how the moments connect together, but I agree, like individually, there's a lot of great moments. I think one of my favorites is the one you just mentioned, where he's kind of running towards the explosion from the mother boxes and everything's kind of like reconstructing as he's getting closer. That looked amazing. That looked expensive. And I know they gave him like 70 million to finish this. I'm like, I wonder how much of that was 70. For that scene. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, that looks expensive. That looked great. So I think that might be my favorite bit. That is the most memorable bit in my head, at least. But I did enjoy quite a lot of the other cool looking bits too.
Did you guys not stand up and cheer anytime? Like, yeah.
Well,
I know you did.
Okay.
These guys, did you all never? Did you? I had that moment when Superman showed up and the axe, like Steppenwolf's axe, lands on him.
Oh, and he's like not impressed.
And he says, "Not impressed." I was like, "Fuck yeah, that's what I want to see."
Man, actually, I didn't have a fuck yeah
British in a cinema, or when I'm watching a film, and I'm just like, that's
that's
the maximum reaction you get out of me.
I know my moment was when Batman was charging the dome. That whole sequence, barraging in, taking on parademons right to left, and no problem at all. That was the most Batman I've ever seen.
No, the most Batman was the warehouse scene from BVS. Like,
Yeah,
that's
but
the
in
most
this
Batman.
movie-
Oh,
this
okay. I thought you meant
movie,
I thought you meant ever.
awesome.
My bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't know. My favorite moments. I feel like you're gonna hate me if I say this.
Say
Your
it.
To me-
favorite
No, this was kind of like a Transformers film to me. That there's moments where I'm like, that looked amazing, but then you go, wait a sec, and none of it made sense. Like kind of like Transformers films that, oh, that looked amazing. Wait, no, it made no fucking sense.
Okay.
But
Good.
so for me, my favorite moments, like you said, were the Speed Force, the final fight. I go back and forth with Wonder Woman's introduction scene because I did think it looked a bit goofy when she was sliding along and just like that with all the bullets. Like that just looked really fucking goofy to me. But I like the scene overall. And me and Adam were kind of in a disagreement because I liked the bit where she talked to that little girl and she's like, "You can be whoever you want to be," and you fucking hated that. Whereas I was like, you know
she
what?
was
Finally,
creepy.
no, but they were finally being people that other people wanted to look up to, which is what the Justice League first and foremost should be. Superman and Wonder Woman should be people who other people look up to and want to become. That's the point of them to me, and that was like one of the main times you got that right.
I think though, for me, it was all about the context of how I didn't really like the scene immediately before that, where she basically just blows the guy to pieces with her like
Yeah, the
bracelet.
body's still on fire behind it.
She only does that when she waits about half an hour to do that to Steppenwolf after they first fight, because that's how serious it is. Yet she's just like, right, the guy from Game of Thrones, yeah, I'm having you. Bang. Melts
did
him
you
to
know-
pieces. And then the little girl's like, can I be like that someday? That's really like sinister. And like, and just the dead eyes of that child actor as well. Like, 'cause, I mean, let's face it, like, it was really like dryly delivered, and I'm like, bloody hell, that's like a really creepy scene in my head. I don't know, it's just me seeing it.
Well,
like that.
Did you notice as well that the only reason they broke into that bank was because of how stupid that security guard was? Like, literally, the guy out of Game of Thrones walks behind him, then the security guard goes, wait, these other 4 people out of a van, they are dodgy. So the guy from Game of Thrones just shoots the security guard in the back of the head. It's like, why did you let the first guy pass?
Gentlemen, I gotta jump off here. If you guys are still here after I get back, I'll be happy to join back in. But don't be too hard on my dude up there. Okay,
Never.
it wasn't that bad of a movie, guys. It wasn't
Thanks for
Batman
the
versus Superman. You all be good.
Good
Bye.
night.
Thanks so much for
Okay.
joining us. Well,
But
there
yeah.
was my surprise.
No,
What a surprise. How did you
going
swing
at all? But yeah,
I mean, I didn't want to scare away you guys before. I mean, if you were intimidated or something, so I just didn't say anything.
but it's kind of like the Martian Manhunt a bit. It's like, oh, okay, this exists.
Exactly.
But yeah, like,
I
what did you guys think of that end scene though? Because I found it really weird. Like Martian Manhunter just appears and Bruce Wayne's like, okay, thanks. And then Martian Manhunter's like, your parents would be proud of you. Like, are you the guy who killed them? Like, how the fuck do you know? Did no one else find that weird?
First time I thought it was kind of weird. The second time I knew it was coming, so I was expecting it and everything. But I kind of let it go that time, I think. But I liked his first appearance, of course. But I still knew that was coming because of leaked images of, the drawings and everything.
Yeah.
On the scenes. So I wasn't that surprised with his cameo, but I was very interested on how he would look like, and that did not disappoint. That was truly Martian Manhunter.
For me, though, doesn't this bring up more questions? Because, like, why is he showing up now? Like, literally, the world just ended and it only got saved because the Flash. Like, as well, can I just have a minute to... I don't know if I just didn't understand this plot because it was 4 hours long, but what was Batman's plan? So the only reason the world got saved is because his resurrection of Superman worked and because the Flash had a power that he had no clue over. Like, Batman is the dumbest person in this film to me. by far. And as well, right, okay, I'm sorry, I'm annoyed now. I've remembered a bit that annoyed me. Right.
Rolling up the sleeves.
Yeah, rolling up the Superman in colour sleeves. Right. So Batman takes everybody to his home and then goes, Cyborg, how do we know we can trust you? You've taken off your mask. You've revealed yourself to every member of this team.
That's Aquaman that questions him.
Either
Not
way,
Bruce.
Yeah.
I just find the old things like Batman does not operate like how Batman is never the smartest person in any room in this film, which is the biggest sin of it to me.
Yeah.
He's never intelligent. He never his plan made no sense. Like for me, what if his resurrection of Superman hadn't have worked? What would his plan have been? Because he didn't know that he didn't know that the Flash could rewind back time. For all intents and purposes, Batman's plan, and as well, he goes, right, guys, I've assembled you all. I've got you all on this big ship. You wait here for 10 minutes. I'm going to shoot everyone, even though I'm like the only one that's got no fucking powers. Like,
but that is Batman. He is.
Then why make a Batman film?
He's the one. He's a man amongst gods, and then he assembles more than all those gods combined. But let's see here. Okay. Oh God, how can I argue?
I'm sorry. I'm just so everybody knows. I love all these guys. Like,
yeah, of course.
We're just talking about a film at the end of the day.
We're still going to discuss this. We're still going to discuss.
I just don't want. If I get annoyed, it's nothing.
But I really like how they came to the conclusion in this one on we'll use this changing machine to resurrect Superman. I liked how they came to that point in this one.
Yeah, the explanation.
Exactly, because the last in the Joss Whedon one was just like that box. It has a lot of energy. I think it has so much energy it can even wake up a man from the dead.
Yeah, it's like, shall we just put him in a pool and hope for the best? Like, that was literally the plot in the first version, wasn't it?
And
like, that's the summary of it.
That scene was important because that's the first time we see Flash actually uses his rewinding of time.
Yeah, I like that, the foreshadowing.
Exactly. And let's see here. And, of course, the premonition of the future is now set. By doing this resurrection, you are
the Wonder Woman bit.
The Wonder Woman bit, the Aquaman bit, and as I told you before this chat, those people would end up being dead in the end of this movie. And I still want to believe that I was half right with the last premonition being that set future.
For me, though, I get the feeling like this is a film that I don't know if this is an expression anywhere other than England, but they wanted to have the cake and eat it too. They didn't want to commit to any of these endings. They didn't want to do the Injustice version. They didn't want to do any of these futures. It was like, let's have a happy ending, but also tease a film that we don't even know we're going to get there. Why not just go for it? Why not have it so that it's like, right, the world fucking ended. Thanks, Bruce. Another thing that you did in this film. Instead of just like it being another dream. It felt cheap to me, for me personally.
Okay. But if I'm going to speak loud about things that I saw within this movie, I have theories about what he would do in the second movie. And
we can talk about that later on then.
Of course.
About your theories about a future movie that probably will never happen.
Okay, that's true. But I also have theories of things that happened in the movie but was never said.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So, Daniel, have you said your favorite moment? I'm sorry. I don't think you have had your chance.
Haven't. No, I
Go
haven't.
ahead.
Yeah, I got annoyed. I'm sorry for that.
Well, honestly, I did like the first scene where they fight together and they kind of fight as a unit in a way in that tower inside that smokestack or whatever it is. I think one of those scenes are one of my favorites because they kind of work as a unit. One of the opening scenes with Diana is also the bank scene is quite a cool scene in certain areas, but then kind of out of character of her killing so many of them.
But she has killed before. I mean,
Yeah, she's a warrior. Like, she comes from a warrior tribe. I allow Wonder Woman. If anything, it makes less sense that she doesn't kill in the comics more often than not.
Sure.
But she does kill in the comics.
No,
She has
but
this-
it's more a rule, isn't it, that she shouldn't kill. Whereas that
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. I was on your side there, to be fair.
Yeah, well, it kind of felt like she just didn't care that whatever happened after she hit them or whatever she did to them.
Well, to be fair, each and every one of those terrorists knew that they would die that day anyways.
Sure.
They just didn't die by the means they wanted to.
To me, it kind of felt
think
out
so,
of character in a way, because I'm trying to watch this and watch the characters as I'm expecting them to act from what I've read of them and what I've seen before. So it's out of that context, it kind of felt out of character in a way.
For me, my main problem with that bit wasn't that she killed the guy. It was the property damage. I'm like, why blow the building apart?
Yeah.
You're so quick, you can stop bullets. Just run up to him and kill him. Like, get him quick.
Exactly.
Just knock the gun out of his hand. Like, tie him up. Like, you don't even have to kill him.
He kind of
I don't care if
vaporized
you
him
do,
instead.
but yeah, like,
I'll be back
she
in a moment,
vaporized
guys.
him and the whole wall behind him. Like, it's debris raining down onto the street. I mean, it looks cool.
But the hat still was in one piece.
Intact. That's branding. That's branding for a very quality hat.
Yeah, I need to get one of those.
And after that scene, now Marcus left, so
yeah, he's coming back.
He's gonna have to catch up on this. But after that scene, I think we have the slow motion Lois Lane getting her coffee for the police scene, and then we have our Zack Snyder cameo in that coffee shop.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice that. I saw that on Instagram. But anyways, and then we get the paper, today's paper on the floor. Did you see the headline?
Yeah, I had to pause it though and rewind because I was like, oh, well, that's going to mean something. And it was just like the architect of a bank or something. I can't remember.
And that, and today I finally found out what that would have connected to later on in the movie if Zack Snyder had gotten to make that scene in the first place, because he wanted to insert John Stewart, the Green Lantern, into this movie.
Architect, yeah.
Yes. So they were looking for architects to build up the skyline again from the damage from Batman v Superman.
That would have been cool. I'd love to see a John Stewart Green Lantern on the screen.
I think we might do in the Green Lantern Corps HBO series.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. That would be awesome.
They are doing principal photography, I think, for that series at the moment. And I hope that they used more Green Lanterns and introduce John Stewart. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Did you see that it was it Kilowog that was dead in that on the floor
in the premonition?
Yeah, in the premonition. I thought that was Kilowog.
Yeah,
lying dead on the ground.
For a dead,
it looked a lot
Kilowog.
like him. Yeah,
definitely him. And one more thing, when she woke up that day, hi Marcus, I was just speaking about how John Stewart should have been in this movie.
Yeah, 100% agree. Like they made so many references to Green Lanterns that I'm like, just fucking show us one. Like,
Exactly.
They did a dead one.
No, but I mean, show us one in the team. Make it just
two dead ones. They showed us two dead. One fighting for some time and then dead.
And neither of them were Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. Like, do you know what I mean? Do everyone a favor.
But before that scene, before she even got the coffee, I think we got to look into her drawer, and there was a pregnancy test there.
There was, yeah, you're right there.
Now, why would that woman have to take a pregnancy test several months after he was dead? Because I really believe that if she was pregnant during BVS, she would have told him, even though he was about to die or something.
What if it was like they did it the night before he died? So it takes a few months to show. Like, it does though. I'm genuinely not trying to take the piss here, but
no.
Like, it takes a few months, doesn't it, to show? So going off your timeline that you think it's at least 6 months later, it wouldn't really work with that. But I know obviously I had to step out there and apologise that someone was at the door. But there's been rumors that Zack Snyder said that, yeah, that's what I was just about to bring up, that apparently it's Bruce Wayne's kid.
And
I'm not sure how you feel about that.
I could buy that because they both are in mourning. When you're depressed, you do things that you don't really do otherwise, and you seek comfort with one another for that same person. You do stupid shit. I could take that type of scenario and see that coming through. And that would also implode so many things for a sequel we'll never get. Think of the reaction of knowing that suddenly your child is not your child.
Who was Batman
film, though?
One more time?
Who was Batman mourning?
Yeah, I said who was Batman mourning.
He was mourning Superman as well.
But he wanted to kill him 10 minutes before that. So
yeah.
We spoke about this, didn't we? That we were like, we don't buy into the friendship of Bruce and Clark.
Yeah, they didn't have a friendship. Yeah.
You literally wanted to stab him in the face with a kryptonite dagger that you'd made for
the
past 3 weeks.
I'd say Batman isn't mourning the loss of Superman or any other character. He's more ashamed of what he's done, and he is regretting.
I think that's more
remorseful.
Yeah,
it's more remorseful than mourning. Yeah,
it feels bad.
Yeah,
because it kind of calls it a little bit.
I think he even says it in one of the scenes with Alfred. That I failed, and I'm. Yeah, he kind of expresses that he is remorseful about what he's done in the BVS movie.
Yeah.
Or in that context of what happened. Yeah.
This is me.
Like, to its credit, though, I did like the synergy between the films. It did very much feel like this was like, whether you love it or hate it, I did like that it felt like it acknowledged the previous films, whereas the hodgepodge from 2017 was just like, what shall we do? Whereas this was like, Superman did die in this, Batman did try to kill him. So I really like the synergy, because I know it feels like I'm reading that at the same time, and I'm like, what? I was. But yeah, I think that's something that I do have to give it credit for. I know I can be quite negative when I get onto a tangent, so there's bits I like.
It's okay. It's interesting. This makes better than just praising it, because then it would be a very short chat, I believe.
Yeah, and I was saying this to Shadowcat. I was like, you know what, though? I haven't talked about any Marvel film this much.
No, yeah.
Yeah, because everyone agrees on both, probably.
Isn't that boring as a movie experience on the after movie experience? You know what I mean? Like, so.
I agree. Like, I've been excited to hear what you took away from this film, because obviously I know that you enjoyed it so much, and I hope that nothing that anyone says here dampens that in any way, shape, or form. Like, that's the last thing that I'd want, as much as I'm being loud and screaming my point across and talking over people, which I apologize for. I'm a little bit drunk. But
I was so glad when I saw the 4K is gonna be released of this, and that I'm gonna update my whole freaking library to 4K now, thanks to that movie, I think. And it's just nice to have, because it is sort of a conclusion to the trilogy. I can be happy to step away with that movie. Still have my theories, of course. Maybe we can get a comic book format of it or something. I don't know.
That would be cool.
I'll
they
read
should continue it somehow. I'm a bit gutted. Like, even though I didn't love
put
the
Jim
film,
Lee on it.
Yeah, that would be
because he drew some storyboards for the second movie.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, and yeah. Let's see here. But crazy theories, like I said, pregnant Lois Lane. She was pregnant. We just don't know to who. But we can assume Superman, but we'll never know, I guess.
Probably Aquaman. That's where I'd go.
Exactly. But the theories, it's interesting just to discuss. And I like the scene when, after Superman got back and everything, he was evil for a while. And as we know in the back of our minds, Lois Lane is the key. And in the Joss Whedon one, it was just, oh, she's the key because he'll come down when he sees her. She's familiar and everything. But in the Snyder Cut, Aquaman simply tells it off like instinct, because she didn't she wasn't afraid of him in first of sight, seeing him as he was. And that means, okay, so if that scene wasn't the Lois Lane is the key moment, then it has to appear later on. And I think that is in the premonition of her carrying someone else's child. Still being the key, though. But she's...
Mm-hmm.
And they also have the scene, they go to the Kent farm, of course. It's being sold. And we have... Come on, guys. Agree with me that the three of them meeting up was a nice moment.
It's nice, yeah. I'll give it that.
Oh, Superman is Mom and Lois, you mean, in the theater?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Was it his mum or was it Martha Manhunter again?
That time it has to have been his mom, I think.
Can you imagine if it wasn't? Like, it is. I'm just taking a piss. But could you imagine if that was Marshall and he's just there like, I don't want to be in this hug. This is weird.
But that does raise questions of like, isn't that going to come up really quickly? Like, oh, how have you been since last week when I saw you that time?
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Like-
Just that one question could break it all.
Yeah.
But still, that moment, and we get to see this butterfly in the middle of the cornfield. And there were some symbolism of that in the Man of Steel, with a butterfly being caught up in the swing and everything. I don't know what that was all about, really, unless it's symbolism for life. But I was thinking about the butterfly effect because I can't think outside of a box even when I see a literal butterfly. But I was still thinking about Lois Lane and how she is the premonition for the butterfly effect on how she now will affect the future. And as well, Superman's resurrection, because now the future is set in the present. So just these small little things. And we haven't talked about the Age of Heroes scene at all.
True. Yeah.
Is that what we... I'm sorry, I'm not in the know. Is that technically the dark side first coming to the Earth?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I genuinely just wasn't following up on like the terminology.
That was just badass. That was a great sequence.
Yeah, that was a cool scene to me, at least. Yeah, I like.
It was a cool scene, but it was a bit problematic in terms of like the threat of Darkseid felt a bit ridiculous after that.
I'm gonna argument on that.
Go on then.
Okay, so we see Zeus and everything, and Ares, his son, right?
Yeah, he was jacked. Zeus was.
He was jacked.
Like Jesus fucking Christ.
Still rocking that mustache. And the Green Lantern appearance, a little longer appearance sequence with them battling Darkseid. Darkseid trying to take the Green Lantern ring was nice touch.
Yeah, I like that. That was pretty cool.
And of course, Amazons fighting together with men and Atlanteans. Nice. The Age of Heroes. But the one that, because this isn't Darkseid. This is before he was Darkseid. He was, help me here. What?
UX? It's UXAS, isn't it? But I don't know.
I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to pretend to know how to say.
He has not gotten up to his full potential yet. Yeah. We can all agree on that, I think, with that scene. But
no, because they don't tell you that. They don't. There's no indication of that in the film.
When you think about
it,
5,000 years earlier.
When you think about it, though, that's the only scene that we see where Darkseid is a threat. That's the only action he has in this film. He doesn't come back. He's just always like the Thanos before Infinity War. That's all we've got of Darkseid now, realistically.
Yeah.
And we as people who read comics know exactly who Darkseid's going to become and the threat he poses. But if you showed this to any of your parents or a friend who's not into comics, they would go, someone hit him with an axe once and he ran back into his ship crying. And then he somehow forgot that was the planet where he made the anti-life.
I would run away crying if someone hit me with an axe as well. But
I mean,
I'd go out on a shield. Like, if you're going to hit me with an axe, finish the job off. That's what I'm going to say.
I'm going to steer your eyes away from the axe and put them on the one that's actually swinging the axe.
Yeah, Ares.
It's a man.
Yeah.
It's a man
that
swings it.
I thought it was.
Ares not a god.
I thought it was Ares. Yeah.
No,
it was Ares.
Was it?
It was the jack dude.
Yeah.
He stands he stands about this much taller than everyone else, and then he jumps. He kind of
because
He's
I
got
was
3% body fat as well.
I was really hoping for it to be man, because that would have been great foreshadowing for a Final Crisis roundup in the second movie. Because
Well,
if man was one that hurt him the first time, and then that really showed that he was vulnerable, then we have Batman breaking his one rule,
Yeah,
and
holding
then
the gun.
his promise to Superman again to not harm life and everything. That would have been great contrast to that.
yeah.
But now that's not the case. Okay, thank you.
Well,
It was a cool scene, though. I do agree with you on that. Like, it was a fun scene.
yeah, and
I think the whole
we don't
point-
have those gods or demigods other than Diana and one woman, since I believe that they lost power because humans don't believe in them anymore.
Yeah,
is that
could
right? Is that a good explanation for that?
Well, Ares still
They need
pretty powerful.
people to believe in them to actually be powerful.
Like Santa Claus and Elf.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. So they need people to believe in them to actually be able to exert power over them or over the others.
So
They exist, but they exist in the shadows nowadays. If that makes sense.
So the faith and belief of the Amazonian people is not enough for them. No,
exactly. So if Zeus were to be as powerful as he was in the scene of Age of Heroes, then people would believe in him. But he doesn't exist anymore, or he doesn't show himself anymore because he doesn't have those powers. Yeah. And he is basically a crumpled old man because people don't believe in him. Religion has basically moved on in a way. Yeah, so that's why he isn't available in this movie,
exactly,
or in the present day, if that makes sense.
And the only reason why Ares still is powerful in the Wonder Woman movie is because
war.
Man doesn't believe in God, but war is still
still a very tangible thing, or present, ever present thing. Yeah.
Yes. That's good. We're getting a little bit philosophical now, and I like that because now we're seeing beyond the actual imagery and everything, and that's what I like about these movies, because they actually makes you think also in some way, because he is. I mean, of course, we can see the Jesus worshipping and everything with Man of Steel very obviously, with the resurrection and everything going up and away and into the sun. And I mean, yeah, it's right there when he's soaking up the sun again for the first time with his now black suit. Now I like that. And have you ever thought about why it's black?
I have no idea.
He really acknowledged it. It looked like he almost just went, "That looks nice," and just went like that. Like I wish they would have got more into his rationale behind it. Like, you know, he needs this to conserve as much energy, because I think I haven't read Death of Superman in so long.
Well, it's a healing suit, right?
But they never acknowledged that for me.
And I guess black draws in most light, and I mean, light is what
it absorbs more sunlight.
Exactly.
Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Just in how it works. But I don't think he went that route. But I guess he wanted to feel closer to his Kryptonian heritage again, because all of those had gray and black suits on them on Krypton. I remember when in the Man of Steel, when Zod stripped down, we saw that he was wearing a black suit right under that.
It looks cool as well, so yeah.
Yeah, of course, it just looks good.
So we're talking about the black suit. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't mind the black suit. I thought it was cool. I was a bit surprised that at the very end, where he does the whole ripping the shirt open, it wasn't the colored one again, though.
That surprised me as well.
Yeah. I thought he'd be done with that, because that's like his recharge suit or whatever, isn't it? I guess that's the whole point.
And here's the thing. In the nightmare scene, which is post that scene and everything. Then he's back in the red and blue suit.
Yeah, it's weird.
So what causes him to go back to that also is interesting. So I was really wondering because there is a afterthought in it. We just don't know, and probably never will.
I think they missed the trick as well, because I mean the idea of the black suit is because like black attracts sunlight, right? And that's his recharge.
That's what we were saying whilst you were gone.
But I mean, like, surely it's still a barrier between him and the sun. He should just have got naked, and that would charge him even quicker. And it's R-rated, and they could have got away with that. Think of the female audience, and just
would have made the first 3 hours worth it to get to that scene. I'd be like, okay, the payoff's here. I've already seen Jason Momoa surrounded by seamen. I'm good now.
Okay. One character we haven't talked shit about is Cyborg. I think we should.
Well, I that's one of the characters I really like about this movie. I like his journey. His character has a journey more than anyone else's, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we get, and of course, I was totally wrong about that headline title of "Beloved Mother, Beloved Son," because in that part chapter, it was clearly clinging on to Cyborg's mom and Cyborg himself, as well as Barry Allen, because we got to see all of those origins in that part. And yeah, I just really liked it. Of course, lots more slow-mo scenes with him playing football and everything. And that event, it plays on sometimes within Batman v Superman, I think, because in that movie, Clark Kent is supposed to report on the Gotham City team losing to Metropolis. And that is just because Gotham has lost their star player, which is Victor.
Right.
So, yeah, that's a nice touch to it if you watch the whole trilogy of it. And so then there's some time when he's Cyborg, but he's hidden away, I guess.
I was waiting for the stadium to explode because of the scene from Dark Knight Rises with Bane blowing the stadium up.
Yeah. But he came in and did the Bane rap. I don't know. Have you seen the YouTube video with Bane rap?
Yeah.
I need to send
years ago.
Yeah, oral notes.
And then let's see here. So, and I really liked how they visually showed the grid that he enters. I mean, the internet and everything, and how he was seeing the world, and he saw himself still as a man. That was really good because that shows that he still believes in his own humanity, even though that his body has changed.
Yeah, I liked how they kind of summarized his character very neatly with the voiceover of his father. The recording from his father kind of sums up the character in a very simple and easy, accessible way to me as a new audience.
I didn't like that. I thought that was very much. It was. You're telling me too much. You're not showing me anything.
You know what?
You're telling me so that you don't have to show me that, but you're showing me this other pretty stuff instead. That's what it felt like, and I just felt like it was very much like, well, how would you know what all his powers are? He doesn't even know. Why do you know? Like,
well, he is the head of Scientology within Xeno.
Scientology.
Not Scientology. Head scientist within the Xeno technology.
Yeah, but like, how does he know what his capabilities are when
I don't know his degree?
Yeah, but like all he does
Zack
is study this
either,
box. He studies this little box that no one knows what it does. It's like an alien artifact. He uses it somehow to I don't know, reconstruct his son. I don't even know how he did that much, but let's just go with that. But then how does he know? He shot it with lasers. Cool.
What type of laser?
I have no idea.
The reason why Steppenwolf didn't come that time was because Superman was still alive at that point, right? So they didn't send out that signal for
The mother
Steppenwolf.
boxes, you mean?
Exactly, because Superman was still alive, so they didn't send out that signal. Because when he arrives, he says that thing, no lanterns, no Kryptonians here.
But what about, so there was 5,000 years of a gap though before Superman was born.
Yeah.
Why didn't they awaken then?
Well, they said that. Okay. Here's the thing that I thought you all was gonna pick on. When they leave, they say that the planet was forgotten. Basically, it lost amongst millions of planets in the systems. So they didn't just put a pin on the one planet that actually resisted.
That's just stupid.
I remember the one place I got a parking ticket from 4 years ago. And a note to not go back there. Like, I think the place that almost killed me, in the back of my head, I'd remember where it is.
Yeah, why wouldn't anyone just, these coordinates, let's go back here later on and pick these mother boxes up.
And
it was buried under 2 feet of dirt, so it's never going to get destroyed.
Yes. Why don't they bury it any deeper than that?
The navigator had to mend Darkseid's wounds, so he didn't have time to put it on the map. He just helped his wounds.
All right.
Yeah, maybe that was
it.
One guy.
That'd be me. That'd be my one job. Like, look, Marcus, remember where this planet is? I'm like, on it. And then it's like, remember where the planet is? I'm like,
what planet?
But that's what
we've conquered everyone, haven't we?
100,000 worlds. Can you? But that scene, because I felt for Steppenwolf in that one Puss in Boots scene when he shows his eyes and everything. He did it better than Puss in Boots. And
don't know about that. But he had a lot more heart than I ever would have imagined going into this. Like, in terms of like you connected with his reasoning for his whole mission, and that was a lot more than I remember from the old film, where it was just like, here's a bad guy. And what I wish they would have done though was make Darkseid feel like a threat and make you have that other side of like, right, well, we've got this middleman bad guy. Cool, we understand him. What about the big boss bad guy? What's his deal? Like, I don't feel like that was a big enough threat and a big enough thing to be afraid of, and like sense of impending doom and all that. Like, I don't feel like that was there.
It was a weird type of balance that we tried to held up, because we wanted to see them finish off this guy first before we go to this one.
Yeah, I think they did it the right way around. If you're only going to have time to flesh out one of the two, I'm glad they focused on Steppenwolf, because he's the one who's right there in front of you.
So they didn't half-ass both of them.
Yeah, exactly. Which, it could have been a lot worse. So
what did you think about that ending scene? Or when they finished him off, basically. The portal was open. Darkseid was ready to step on over, together with Zod and Granny Goodness, if anyone knows who those are. I mean, I loved the thing with Wonder Woman beheading him because of all the things that he said about her mother and everything, and all the lies, just to make her angry, and then just making a statement and a pure warning for Darkseid. Just don't come over here. Don't fuck with us. Beheading Steppenwolf. So he
doesn't heed that warning.
No, not at all.
He just says, we'll go over there the old-fashioned way instead.
But it is a line being drawn.
Yeah. There's a line in the sand,
I really liked the scene. Visually, it looked amazing. And I loved the bit where his head kind of falls through on the other side and Darkseid just like puts his foot on it and then like crushes it or whatever. It all looked very cool, but like I don't understand what the whole let's do it the old way or whatever. Like, what's the deal there?
Okay, so the mother box takeover didn't work, so instead we bring our whole armada again.
Right.
And just kill them before we do the Unity. So there's more mother boxes, of course, because each planet gets free mother boxes to being terraformed into an apocalypse copy. So there's more than those free. And those were dormant and forgotten and everything, and just like that.
For me, though, I just wish we could have had a bit... I know, obviously, Darkseid was supposed to be in the future, but... The problem is, I feel like if this would have come out in 2017, if this would have genuinely been the film that Zack Snyder wanted to bring out, I probably would have felt differently about it. But we're living in a post-Infinity War, post-Endgame world.
Yeah.
Darkseid, to me, just wanted to take over the world because, obviously, the anti-life and because he's evil. Like, there was none of this, oh, my world died. And I don't want this to get into a Marvel versus DC, but...
No, but he's more of a generic villain.
I feel like we're past that now. I feel like...
You want a more fleshed out backstory and reasonable argument like Thanos.
Just
Not
something
necessarily
like, if you're taking over
backstory.
10,000 worlds, why do you need this one? Just like let us be. You've got 10,000. If I had 10,000 cars, I don't care about the one that like drove away from me. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Maybe there's not a good Starbucks on any of the other ones, though, man. Like,
true.
And I must agree with Off My Shelves that any bad guy that loses a planet is destined for failure. Pretty easy. Yeah.
But can I just ask you guys, because this is something that I found quite interesting, because obviously the timeline of this film is completely different now. I mean, the production of it. This never would have been a 4-hour film in 2017. There was no way the WB would have allowed that. What do you think, if Zack Snyder hadn't have had to step aside, I'm not going to get into that, but what do you think wouldn't have been in this film in 2017 if it wasn't the situation that happened?
A lot of maybe. Oh God, I still want to believe that everything that we saw in the very first trailer before everything got shifted would still be in the movie. So maybe some cyborg scenes would have been cut actually, and Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, definitely. That was filmed after I've heard as well.
And shorter sequences overall. Maybe not as much of seeing Lois grieving.
I think they would have cut the entire scene with the Flash and Iris. That was completely not necessary at all. That was like
didn't play any
3
part,
minutes.
yeah.
That definitely would have gone.
It's so much stuff to cut away 2 hours from this. Because the 4 hours is what makes this movie.
I mean, they could have cut it. They could have done like a 2.5, 3 hour version. Maybe.
Yeah, 3 hours I think would have been fine. Like,
but yeah,
I would have got rid of that scene of Alfred teaching Wonder Woman how to make a cup of tea.
I liked that.
That's fair.
That was so stupid.
But I really, I don't know. I love Jeremy Irons, and he's there teaching Wonder Woman how to make tea. Like, more people should know how to make tea,
Fair play. Like, it's just for me, I was like, because I think the reason why my score lowered was because I heard what everybody else was saying, and everybody's like, this is I genuinely heard somebody saying not a second was wasted in this film. I'm like, if you need 4 hours to tell your story, are you really that good at your job? Like, when I used to clean toilets, if it took me 4 hours to clean a toilet, I would have been sacked. Like, there's no two ways about it, but obviously to different kettles of fish. But for me, I'm thinking about it and I'm like, you have to, like I said, I take my hat off to you, Joachim, because you could watch this twice. But for me, I'm like, I'm probably never going to watch this again because it's 4 hours long. Like, if you said to me, I can watch this or Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, because they're the only two films that are comparable time-wise, it's always going to be Lord of the Rings. I'm never going to choose this over it, unfortunately. Or even if it was Endgame or this. Like, for me, does it justify does this story... I love that they fleshed out more of the characters. I love that, Cyborg did anything. I love that, but for me... Sorry.
Sorry. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you. Continue.
No, I've done it more than enough. Don't worry. You're cashing in one of them at this point. Don't worry.
Yeah, but continue.
No. I was just going to say, does this does this story justify 4 hours? 4 hours. Think about what you can do in 4 hours. You could watch Terminator 2
Twice.
Depends which cut you watch.
Well,
but
you
Yeah.
could watch Infinity Wars and Endgame back to back.
Almost, yeah.
so, do you get what I'm
basically.
saying? I'm like, for me, I'm watching this and I'm going, what is the plot of this? Okay, they want to get the mother boxes. Obviously, they're coming together with a team. 4 hours.
I know exactly what you mean, and I that's kind of my take on it as well. Is that that's a massively significant amount of time, and it didn't help that. So it came out on Thursday. I watched like 2 hours of it, and then on Friday, there was the yes. So this came out on Thursday, and on Friday we had the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I feel like they very kind of efficiently gave you like a good 10-20 minute chunk of that episode where it completely got me bought into who they were as characters, what they were doing. They had some cool action sequences all within like the first 10-15 minutes. And I'm there going, that's a massively different story to the film I've just been watching, where it's really like drawn out and kind of expanded over this massive amount of time. Whereas imagine if the film had the efficiency of that TV episode and just what they could have accomplished with just that bit more efficiency. And even if they still took 4 hours, maybe you could pack more into that didn't involve you having to over explain things. And I don't know, it just it could have been reconfigured massively.
May I just
definitely.
ask as well, like, did you guys find yourself checking your phone at certain parts during the film, or did you find yourself immersed completely? Like, I'm interested to hear what the viewing experience was like for you guys. Like, did you check every time a new part started? Like, where we at?
I'll start. Okay. First of all, I just want to remind all of the people, but by that I mean 7, that we do have a super chat, and all the money that has been donated on the super chat is going to go to a suicide prevention organization. I will also match the total sum of the donations on my part to that organization. And that is just because of the circumstances around this movie, of course, because when the movie ended, I felt that I want to give something back. And yeah, that's just about that. And by the end of this movie, where we get our final calling card, which is for Autumn, I wept like a newborn child. The hiccups and everything. Just because I was thinking about the circumstances in how we got this movie, because we would never have gotten this movie in any other circumstances. It would never have been 4 hours if it wasn't for these circumstances, and that killed me inside. And shouldn't even bring up the question, was this worth it? No, of course not. It's not worth it. It's never worth that. So with that, we want to at least do something to give it back. And so if you give a super chat on this live stream now for the last 15 or 20 minutes that we're going to be on, or less, all of that is going to go to a suicide prevention organization. So thank you. And I will match the total donations. And yeah. So
I feel
if we're
bad now, like, because I say, was it worth it? And it's like, well, I wasn't taking that into context with what you were saying, so I don't want people to think that what I was saying about the runtime. Was any comment on that situation?
Of course not. But that was the only thing I was thinking about, and the end credits with Hallelujah and everything, that being his daughter's favorite song, and that rendition was special for her as well. It really caught me. And yeah, sorry to go down there. I just had to mention it sometime.
Yeah.
I just wish it would have been before I said about, was this film worth it? I feel a bit bad now. Because
you were talking about the film.
You shouldn't.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want to ever have to imagine what Zack went through during that time. And it's kind of one of them weird things. I think 10 years from now, I'd really love to watch a documentary about how this film ended up coming to be, like all the back behind the scenes that must have happened at Warner Brothers, all the discussions. I would love a film about that. That would, I'd love that. So I think I agree with what you're saying there. Yeah, 4-hour documentary about the 4-hour movie. But I think sometimes I can lose sight of the bigger picture of this film. So I hope nobody who's watching this thinks that I'm making light of that situation. I'm looking at the movie just as a product of itself, as if it would have come out in 2017.
That is all this discussion has been about. Nothing outside of it. Just the product itself and what we was given.
Yeah. Can I ask you guys a question about the... To me, the film feels like a movie that's kind of mashed together. Oh, 3 movies mashed together in a way. Maybe. 2 or 3, depending on how you see certain parts of it. Do you think it could work as a back-to-back 2-part movie?
I wouldn't have liked to
release one part and kind of build up to the big part. If you rearrange some of it and start with a build-up towards a climax where, similar to what they did with Infinity Wars, but in this context, with them trying to stop the portals where Darkseid kind of comes to Earth, and that's where we kind of end up in the second part or the second movie.
First off, cheers to Comic Board for the donation, and thank you so much, very much. And if the scene with the first battle when they get together when they're under the Gotham River, if that was more epic than if it was a greater, bigger battle, because we only have 2 big battles really in this movie. Yeah, then maybe we could make 2 movies of it, but it would feel very stripped down.
Yeah, well, I would probably kind of build the movie differently, if that makes sense. Yeah. I wouldn't execute it as they did this time. I would try to do it something else with it, with a similar theme and such, to make it more cohesive. Because I feel that it doesn't really. Adam has put it better, explained it better. Where you
great scenes, but they don't really feel.
They don't mesh together.
Exactly.
These 2, there's so many differences in certain areas that you kind of doesn't feel like the same movie at times, and you kind of feel like this is a cool concept. We need to have this, and then we need to fit this into this context of the other scenes that we have. Just because this shot, we need to have this shot. This is gonna look so cool on camera with this lighting, and if you put it in slow-mo, it's gonna be even cooler.
I think that was my whole problem. Was like you say, it's like the scenes are kind of, it's like dot to dot, where you've got what you're aiming for. You've got these dots, and you're like, how do I connect these dots? And it feels like that's the approach they took, where they knew what scenes they wanted, they knew what shots they wanted, and they were like, right, cool, what do we put in the middle of that to get from here to here? It wasn't as natural because of that. It felt a bit disconnected. So while I liked each of the dots, I didn't really like where the lines were joining the dots as much. I feel like that was the more jarring experience of watching the film was.
Yeah, and a certain grouping of dots kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
if you put them together, and then they kind of don't fit together with the other group of dots that you have. So that's kind of what makes me. I don't dislike the movie. Don't think that I don't like it. It's a movie that enjoyed watching when I watched it. I probably won't watch it again anytime soon. Maybe in a few years or so, when I've kind of forgot how I feel about it in a way.
Yeah. I'll definitely watch it again. I feel like I'll watch it again, but not for a long time. But I would love to revisit it in a few years, definitely. I feel like there's enough there for me to go, yeah, I'll stick that on. You know?
Yeah. I would want to rewatch this from the beginning with all of the movies in between. So Man of Steel, of course, Batman v Superman, even Suicide Squad, just because it should be in there in between.
Yeah.
And
just to make my point even clearer, I feel like this movie kind of suffers from the sucker punch aesthetic to it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say there?
Oh,
you have
like
4 movies you have 4 snippets of a movie mashed together, and you have the whole the net to try to kind of fit it all together. You have 4 concepts of a movie, but then you kind of mash it all together with a 5th concept that doesn't really work.
Yeah,
it kind of feels the same way, but with 3 or 2 different aspects of it. Yeah,
that's almost my feelings about Birds of Prey at one point.
No, I haven't seen it either.
We're not gonna bark at that tree. Not tonight.
I might.
No. In the after chat then. But okay. I mean, so we talked 2 hours about this movie without shouting at each other, I would say.
I got a little bit. It's just I get nervous, and then I just go off on a tangent. I never intend to shout. But
this is a safe space, Marcus. No one's gonna hurt you. Okay, but this has been a very good chat, I believe. And as I said, we've respected each other's opinions a lot, and that's how it should be with these very controversial movies, as this one has been in particular. And I just want to thank you all guys for showing up to my channel and having this very first live stream chat. And who knows if we're gonna keep doing this. We already have a live chat at Marcus's channels at Mad Dog Comics, where we're not on a tight schedule or anything or anything.
Yeah, it just tends to be a Friday, doesn't it, at the minute?
Yeah, always
we announce it enough in advance.
Absolutely. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone that has showed up now in the live stream and watching this afterwards also. So just thank you guys for discussing this movie and being very honest with your opinions on it. You did not hold back.
That's what we're here for.
I just want to ask so that we end on a positive note, because obviously I know that you were the most hyped for it, and I'm really glad that you got that. So, you know, for yourself, you know, what was that? The way you felt about it is how I wanted to have watched it. So, so that we end on a positive note, how was it for yourself? I really want to hear, you know, your feelings as you went through it. Were there any moments where you're like, oh God, is it straying away from what I think it can be? What was it like?
I forgot. It was when you were talking about, did you ever pull up your phone or anything? I never did that. I didn't even have it in the same room. I was completely immersed into the movie as I was watching it. And as I said, in the first half hour, I was already crying because I was thinking about Diana's mother and everything when she called out for her. And yeah, there were several moments that upset me or got me emotional. And the only time when I watched and clicked up, you know, to see how much of a movie is left, the reason why I did that wasn't because I wanted it to end. It was because, oh my God, it cannot end now. Thankfully, we were in the middle of the epilogue and it was still 23 minutes left by then. And I was just grabbing everything. I was thinking, just how much more can we get out of this? And I got loads of it. So that was the only reason why I ever watched the clock. Was, please do not let this end. Because, yeah, 4 hours, nothing.
I think we should do a 5-year anniversary stream because we'll say like years from now we'd watch this again. I think because I think the hype might have dampened my experience because coming into this, I had yourself messaging me saying, "Oh my god, I've already watched it and it's the greatest thing I've seen." Do you know what I mean? Like I already had your hype going into it, so maybe that did affect my judgment of it. So sometimes. Oh yeah, Captain Makasu said about the. We didn't even touch on that.
I was actually thinking about showing up today as the Joker because I have the stuff.
Oh, I came as Superman. Like,
but then again, I was thinking, okay, this is the first live stream. Omar is coming over also, and we'll do that in Halloween time. So
we should do a Halloween stream where we all come as someone.
Yes,
that'd be cool.
Yes,
absolutely.
Should we do like in the Big Bang Theory? It's like dibs on the Flash, dibs on Frodo.
I only have one Halloween costume.
I kind of like the Joker scene. I like the Jared Leto's new take on Joker because I can't see that he did that take on Suicide Squad all those years ago.
I liked it as well.
I felt that it was more of a Joker than before. So I enjoyed that.
The things he said was really important. And of course, more theories about future movies that will never be made. But when he said, how many times do you have to start off the timeline just because you couldn't be the bigger man and die yourself? I was thinking that was foreshadowing him actually doing the sacrifice to kill Darkseid and then get hit by the Omega beams. Typically, like you're not the one to lay yourself on the wire, like Captain America said to Iron Man. Same spiel, but the execution would still have been very good, I think, if we actually got to see that. So, but yeah, I liked it. I don't know how he could afford tattoo removal, but
more makeup. He just put more makeup over it, and didn't
exactly. And yeah,
I mean, I feel like I didn't like the previous Joker from the Suicide Squad, so anything was an improvement. So they improved it definitely, and I can get away from the fact that he's still not my idea of the Joker because it's like this post-apocalyptic nightmare future version of the Joker. Cool. But there's just something about the whole thing where he's like, who's going to give you a reach around? You know what I mean? Like that overshadowed the whole conversation for me. And I'm like, oh man. And then I know the last time we met, we had predictions for the what we're going to get out of this film. And I was half joking when I said, we're going to get the goddamn Batman. And we got so close to having the goddamn Batman with that end bit that I was like, I'm so close to being right there that I'm annoyed that he didn't just say, I'm going to fucking kill you because I'm the goddamn Batman. Or like,
I'll give that to you because, I mean, we were both kind of right in a way. Because I predicted that half of Justice League would be dead by the movie.
Which they were, technically.
Yeah, technically.
In a dream.
But it happened. But
it's gonna happen.
Yeah, that is the future films, from what I understand. That's where they would have ended up, like literally.
The future is set now because of the resurrection of Superman, and I mean, I kind of like that hazy look of Bruce Wayne. Actually, the second time around I watched it, I like that hazy look of him just waking up, having a nightmare, and here's a Martian. Okay, nice.
Is that why he was so like cool with it? He was like, I'm still dreaming. Like, yeah, cool story, bro. Cool, bye. Like, that makes so much more sense now. Because I mean, that did feel very dreamlike. The whole nightmare sequence when he was talking to the Joker. You know, that kind of focus, it was going in and out of focus. I kept thinking, like, is he talking to the Joker? Or is he just gone insane and he's imagining the Joker? So I wasn't actually sure if he was really there.
You know, they filmed all of them having that conversation in separate times because really weren't looking at each other, playing off each other's game.
Right. Okay.
But if he wasn't there, that would be awesome as well, because that would once again go back to Scott Snyder's run with
The Last Night on Earth. Yeah.
Yeah. And him only. Oh, that's a nice theory. And of course, the reach around thing also speaks back to Scott Snyder's run on the death of the family, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really like that. And just one other thing, because if you see the house that Bruce Wayne lives in right now, because Wayne Manor has been burned down and now it's going to be the new Hall of Justice or something, his house is very modern and glass all around, very exposing, showing that this is a man that has nothing to hide.
Yeah.
Then being Batman has everything to hide in the basement, basically. I like that.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
But yeah,
he lives in the open.
exactly. But I think with that note, I think we'll say thank you. And thank you all for joining the stream.
No, thanks for having us. Yeah. Been really looking forward to this one. So yeah, it's been a good chat.
Yeah, please plug your channels. I'll get the links ready.
I'll go first, just because mine's the least important here. So yeah, you can find me at Comic Bound. I've got nothing planned upcoming, so apologies for the lack of videos I've been doing. But yeah, you'll probably see me next on probably the next Mad Dog Chat. So yeah, over to you, Marcus, I guess.
Yeah, you can find me over at Mad Dog Comics. 2Ds, 2 Gs. I should know how to say that already by now. But yeah, I've got Missing the Issue on Superman by Peter J. Tomasi coming up, and next week's obviously whole week whale watch. But I try my best to do a live stream every month, and I've been blessed in the past couple of months that the guys surrounding me here have joined me, and we've all had a really great time. I've had a great time here. I'm sorry that I got a little bit drunk and took over a little bit. I didn't intend for that. I hope I haven't ruined it for anyone. But yeah, I've had a great time, and I just hope that we can all hang out again soon.
Yeah,
absolutely. Daniel,
you can, if anyone is interested, you can find me at Daniel's Comics here and at YouTube and on Instagram. I'm more active on Instagram, but I've been a video a month basically, with a whole video or something like that. I'm trying to find time to do more reviews and other type of videos, but time kind of eludes me. But I do love these live streams. I look forward to them every day, every time. Sorry?
These are the highlights of my month almost.
Yeah. And I do have an upcoming live stream with the Comic Board the second Tuesday of every month. So in April, I think it's going to be the 9th or 10th, something like that.
I should know that because I'm joining you for that one, actually. We're
the second Tuesday in April.
That was what I was coming to. So Adam from Comic Bound is going to join us. 13th. So we're going to be on the 13th. Yeah. I need to get a calendar. But we are going to talk about Scarlet, the Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev maxi series. It's going to be very fun.
Nice. I'll watch that.
Thank you.
And yeah, with that, thank you, everyone. We'll see you in another video. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.